Great blue heron. We're currently on Bayou DeView, a portion of Bayou DeView that is on Cache River National Wildlife Refuge. This is on the north portion of the Big Woods of Arkansas. And the Big Woods is noteworthy for a lot of things. In part because it's over 500,000 acres of bottomland hardwood forest. Really significant considering that we originally had something on the order of 24 million acres of bottomland hardwood forest in the Mississippi alluvial valley. And of what's left, this is the second largest patch. The only thing larger is on the Atchafalaya Basin in Louisiana. So a very valuable resource that we've got left here. And most of it has been left because it just flooded too frequently to farm. This means that not only do we have a small area of forest remaining, but most of what's left is in very small patches. This patch here in the Big Woods of Arkansas is a little over 500,000 acres, but even this patch is very long and skinny. So we've got lots of edge and not a very big block of forest. The Arkansas Field Office of the Nature Conservancy opened in 1982. Since then, we've been working with our partners, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, to preserve over 120,000 acres of forested habitat in the Big Woods of Arkansas. This forest in here looks very primitive and very much wilderness. As you can see, this extremely large bald cypress tree immediately behind me here. An impressive forest. But this forest was cut as recently as 80 years ago. And because of its very low position in the floodplain, we have primarily two trees in here, water tupelo and bald cypress. And the very large cypress that's left here, like the one behind me, were left primarily because they were culls. They were hollow or some other way defective and just didn't make good boards, so they weren't commercially valuable and they were left. This is one of the granddaddy cypress out here. There's no telling how old this tree really is because each tree grows at a little different pace. But this tree is probably 250, 300 feet tall, and I'm willing to bet it's at least 400 years old. Probably a lot older. Really magnificent trees. When you look up at them, they tower over the rest of the forest. We've got the canopy of the tupelo trees, and then sticking out 50, 60, 70 feet above that are these old granddaddy cypress trees. So we've got very intense agriculture every place. And when people discover that we've got this beautiful strip of forest along our streams left, a lot of people are really surprised. Because driving through the Delta with just farm field after farm field isn't the most scenic part of the country. But you get just another mile down the road and you get into something like this, and it's like you've entered a different world. So first of all, it's just beautiful. It's good for the mind and good for the soul. Secondly, it has tremendous fish and wildlife value. The Big Woods of Arkansas is right in the middle of the Mississippi Flyway. Large movements of waterfowl, ducks and geese, and migratory songbirds move north and south, spring and fall through this corridor. And we recognize that in order to maintain our migratory birds, we're going to have to maintain all three kinds of habitat: where they breed, where they winter, and where they migrate through. This is one of our resident birds calling right now, Carolina wren. Very vocal, permanent resident of this area, here all the time, and you can always count on them making noise no matter what time of year it is. One of our noisiest birds, and very common. We've also got a really high population of woodpeckers of all kinds here. Because of this forest and because of the age of the trees, which creates lots of decrepit trees and rotten trees, the kinds of things that get beetles and other worms and the like in them that make really good food for woodpeckers. We've got 7 species of woodpeckers that are common here, and then a couple of others that are somewhat more unusual that occur in the big woods. One bird that everyone likes here that we have in the summertime is the prothonotary warbler. It lives in swamps, and a little bit unusual for warblers, it nests in cavities. So again, it likes these older, more decrepit trees that are going to get holes in them, and they obviously have a close relationship with the woodpeckers that are out here digging holes. The prothonotaries come back in the next year and use them. We've got a good population of barred owls in here. That's our most common bottomland owl. We've got others, great horned owls and screech owls, but the one we hear most of the time is the barred owl. This area holds the only black bear population in Arkansas that is continuously in existence. In the southern portion of the area we get into alligators. Other fur-bearer animals, large numbers of beavers in this area, good population of river otters, mink. So this is just a fantastic place for wildlife. Conservation isn't free. Much of the conservation effort in the big woods of Arkansas, the National Wildlife Refuges, the state wildlife management areas, has been supported by the local community. The conservation community here is formed primarily of waterfowl hunters. Without those monies and their contributions to conservation effort here, Cache River National Wildlife Refuge would not exist. The White River National Wildlife Refuge would not exist. So continually maintaining the connection between all of our partners is really critical. The duck hunters have supported the lion's share of conservation in this area. Nature Conservancy and other groups less associated with hunting have been very important. In 1992, Nature Conservancy was a primary participant in what's come to be known locally as the Potlatch Exchange. Potlatch Timber Company owned 41,000 acres south of Cache River National Wildlife Refuge, but north of the White River National Wildlife Refuge. This 41,000 acres came into ownership of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and connected these two refuges and really made the conservation corridor of the big woods a reality. We can go in and protect, put in some kind of protected status, all of the existing forests that we have, and we still can't be assured that we're going to maintain the migratory bird populations and the other wildlife that are here. In order to do that, we're going to have to do more than protect what's already here, but restore some of what we've lost. And we're actually restoring forest rather than just restoring trees. Now, when you've got a tree this high that we put out there, that's not hardly a forest, but that's the best we can do. Someday it's going to be a forest. 50 years we're going to come back here, and our children and grandchildren are going to see that and be very glad that we did that work. I heard once that a definition of a conservationist is someone who plants a tree that they'll never see grow up. And that's where we all have to be right now. Plant thousands of trees that we're never going to see grow up. You gonna get the picture of the ivory bill over my right shoulder? Good.